Hi everyone. I just wanted to let you know a little about why I decided to start this YouTube channel. Now, the initial reason was because I released a book called Weary Souls, and I wanted to get information out there on my book, where to buy it, and get the word out there because it's a really important message. So I will say it's called Weary Souls, A Guide to Growing in Christ-like Compassion, and you can find it on annajoyware.com. But aside from that, I also really just felt drawn to this YouTube platform because I'm able to send messages to the rest of the world about truth and how to become more like Christ from the perspective of a young woman. And one of the cool things about the perspective that God's given me is I was actually raised outside of the typical church setting. I was raised in a home church. And there were pros and cons to that, but one of the best things about it is that I was raised in an environment where there were no church politics, there were no cliques, there were no denominations. It was purely just getting to know and understand the Word of God. So as I got older and I started attending and visiting churches, I really saw from the outside kind of the dynamics of churches that can become complicated. And yeah, we're all sinners and we're all just trying to make it work, and there needs to be grace. But we also need to be careful not to just become just kind of copycat pictures of what the church, the cultural Christianity can produce. And it's not necessarily the church's fault or the leader's fault, but it's up to each of us individually to choose to become more like Christ. And we don't want to become religious. We don't want to do things because it's tradition. We want to do it because we want to be more like Jesus. We want to understand his word. We want to be for others what he is for us. And that's a perspective I have that's a little bit unique because what I see in the church is a lot of division. And there's just some things that are important to me that where you can kind of set some of that stuff aside. There are pressures that the church places on men and women. And again, there's no one to blame necessarily. These are just things that are kind of built in, and we see it everywhere. Legalism goes wherever church is. And I think it's just important that we kind of call each other forward and we take responsibility for ourselves, because the more Christ-like we are and the more influence we have, the more Christ-like the church is going to become. So that's a perspective I want to share with the world. That's a perspective I also give through my book. And if you're watching my videos and you like what you see, I ask that you would subscribe to my channel. I don't have much now. I'm pretty new at this, but I would love to see that grow, and that would encourage me to just come out with more of this, and it would help grow my platform. Thank you so much.